Hello and welcome to the weigh-in. I am Sean Zerillo, joined today by former professional MMA fighter Billy Ward, and we're going to get you set with our best bets and our picks for the main event at UFC 282, going down on Saturday night at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. And let's get to that main event, a light heavyweight title bout between Magomed Ankalaev and former champion Jan Blachowicz. Jan coming in as a plus 250 underdog, 9 of his past 10 wins, all coming at plus money. Ankalaev coming in as a significant favorite, minus 340. He is a pretty heavy favorite in each of his UFC bouts and has won all of those bouts except his debut, which he lost at the final bell via submission. Jan 2-5 in his UFC career when he's taken down at least once, and that is where most expect Ankalaev to have the big advantage in this matchup, is with the grappling. Does not typically pursue it proactively, typically attempts about one takedown per round, but when he isn't able to get that takedown, he doesn't chain wrestle, he doesn't pursue it over and over. He's happy to go back and go to striking, and I think the striking here should be relatively competitive. Jan, a 3-inch reach advantage. Ankalaev probably a bit faster, better footwork, but I do expect the striking to be competitive. Both guys tend to prefer to counter strike rather than be the aggressor, so it should be a very moderate paced, low volume striking affair where neither is really able to pull ahead either in any particular round or over the course of the fight on volume or on damage unless they're able to land a knockdown. So the striking should be competitive. Ankalaev does have the grappling advantage. The question is whether he decides to pursue it and how often he goes after it round by round. So in a striking bout, you'd certainly want to bet Jan at this price. Not knowing what Ankalaev is going to do from fight to fight makes him a difficult fighter to bet. But what I do like here, aside from the money line where I would lean to Jan pre-fight, is the fight to go to a decision. See slight value of that prop. I'm actually going to bet the over 3.5 rounds, though, at plus money. We're going to avoid those late fight shenanigans, which we've seen in other recent title fights, as the fighter who's behind in the 5th round tends to throw all caution to the wind and go for it. Billy, I think you have a similar read on this main event, as do I. We've seen a number of decisions from Magomed Ankalaev in the past, and you're expecting to see a longer, drawn-out main event as well.
Yeah, the one I was coming in with was over 2.5 at minus 138, just for a little bit of added safety versus yours. Totally fine with your bet too. We've just seen him come out very cautiously when he's fighting people that has some fear of their power. He went to a decision with Thiago Santos, pretty boring fight. Ankalaev didn't really push the pace. And if there's anything that Blachowicz can still do, it's knock you out. He's still a big, strong guy. He's got the Polish power. So I'm not really worried about too much in terms of his overall skill set. But if Ankalaev is playing cautiously, waiting on the outside, opportunistically going for takedowns, but not forcing the issue, this one has all the makings of one that goes a little bit long.
Yeah, I can certainly see Jan just sort of playing safe on his back as well. Even if he gets taken down, doesn't really allow opponents to pass, can stay safe off of his back, and all of that leads itself to more time just sort of ticking off the clock and us getting a longer fight. So both of us expecting to see a more extended main event, potentially hitting the scorecards and potentially being difficult to score for the judges. In terms of our best bets for Saturday, there's actually a fight that I'm anticipating just a bit more than this main event, and that is the featherweight scrap between Ilia Topuria and Bryce Mitchell. Now, I view Topuria as a future champion, view Mitchell as a future title contender, if not a potential perennial top 3 contender. But I do think Topuria has more upside both in the present and in the future. View him as the more well-rounded fighter, the much better striker, and I'm not sure that Mitchell has as big of a grappling advantage as many may suggest. I think he's the better wrestler. I think he's stronger, has more top pressure, but in terms of the overall defensive jiu-jitsu, in terms of the scrambling, the athleticism, that all points to Poirier's way. So Poirier, the more well-rounded fighter, the more explosive athlete, and the type of matchup that Mitchell hasn't really seen yet in the UFC, which is somebody who can match his grappling and then completely outstrike him. He's either been fed guys who are lesser grapplers than him, who are grapplers, or guys who are strikers who can't grapple. So I think this is the first real test that Mitchell has faced. I know Edson Barbosa was a test he passed with flying colors, but that was an athleticism and an age gap as much as it was anything else. Ilia Topuria, minus 150 on the money line at FanDuel. Can find minus 140 out there elsewhere. My favorite bet for Saturday night, in addition to his finished props around plus 170, plus 180. Billy, You're going with a youngster for your best bet on Saturday. Tell me which angle you like.
Yeah, I hate to do this because he's going off at about minus 250, and that's Raul Rosas Jr. Made a lot of headlines for fighting in the Contender Series when he was still just 17. It was like 2 weeks before his 18th birthday. That was totally a publicity stunt. They could have pushed him back, a couple weeks, and they wouldn't have had those headlines. But clearly, someone the UFC is invested in, and clearly someone that they want to get a win. And normally in those kind of fights, we see a lot longer odds than minus 250. And I think what I realized here is that people don't really understand how good Mando Gutierrez was. For those who don't know, that's who Rosas fought in the Contender Series. Mando is really legit. Had some fights for LFA. I watched him at a grappling tournament like a week or two after that, just mauling through much bigger black belts. And Raul Rosas made it look like he didn't even know what he was doing. So just that kind of grappling advantage in a matchup with Jay Perrin, another guy who's going to be willing to grapple with him, I think is going to be huge. There's a lot of publicity about his age and all that. I don't think that really matters here. He's just straight up the better grappler against a guy who's going to grapple with him. If there was someone I thought could defend takedowns, maybe make it a stand-up match, that's when we're going to look to fade Rosas. But against someone else willing to grapple, minus 250, it should really be a lot longer. It should be 350, 400 for this one.
So in terms of the main event, Billy and I see a more extended fight. We like the overs there. Our best bets, I'm going with Ilia Topuria around minus 140. Billy going Raul Rosas Jr. around minus 250. You can find our favorite underdogs and our top props on our YouTube channel as well. Make sure to subscribe to the Action Network's YouTube channel. Make sure to find all of our content for UFC 282 on actionnetwork.com.